at Kmart. Kmart, we've got it and we've got it good. At Kmart.
Today, there are currently
Bro, that's super catchy.
just 2 Kmart stores that remain open in the United States. And, embarrassingly, one of them was just forced to relocate its entire operation into the former garden center, while the main area of the building was leased out to a more profitable tenant. No doubt this was a humiliating experience for a company that, as recently as the 1980s, reigned supreme as the king of American discount stores. In fact, just a few decades ago, Kmart operated more than 2,400 stores across all 50 states. And for millions of American families, shopping at Kmart was a monthly, if not weekly, event. Join me as we take a trip back in time, before the bankruptcies and before the big Ks, back to the days of Kmart cafes, mint green smocks, and layaways.
Attention Kmart shoppers.
For the next few minutes, there's a blue light special happening in the History Lounge as we revisit the golden age of Kmart.
All right, let's go.
The letter K in Kmart comes from the name of its founder, Sebastian Spearing Kresge, a man who, were he not the owner, would likely have been a customer. Renowned for his stinginess, Kresge was said to wear cheap suits until they fell apart, and to put paper in his shoes when the soles wore out. Born on a farm outside of Scranton, Pennsylvania in the 1800s, Sebastian Kresge was raised on the principles of hard work and frugality, 2 traits that would serve him well.
Hey, that works.
In 1899, at age 34, Sebastian used his savings to open a chain of 5 and dime stores, which he named SS Kresge's. By the 1950s, Kresge's company had grown to 694 stores and was the second largest variety store chain in the United States.
Oh, he was super wealthy.
Second only to Woolworth's. But the retail world was evolving, and Kresge was determined to evolve with it. On March 1st, 1962, in a suburb of Detroit, 4,000 curious customers stood in line, awaiting the grand opening of the nation's first Kmart in Garden City, Michigan. Upon entering, shoppers would find over 75,000 square feet of bargains across a range of departments, including clothing, kitchen items, home improvement, sporting goods, electronics, cameras, jewelry, toys, and much more.
So basically the early Walmart.
Yeah.
Keep in mind, there was another company called Woolworth that was very similar to this. But I'm not sure they ever kind of went into like big box locations.
The store was a hit, and by the end of the year, Kmart would open 17 more stores in cities across the country.
Oh, wow.
Back in the 1960s, the availability of such a vast array of merchandise inside a single store was a new thing for most shoppers. In decades past, the only retailers with such a wide variety of goods would have been large department stores such as Sears, which at the time were mostly located in the downtowns of larger cities. With the introduction of Kmart, suburban shoppers could avoid the trip to the city and purchase nearly everything they needed at a convenient location near their home. And parking would be less of a hassle than at a downtown department store, as Kmart stores offered plenty of free parking in their own lots. Kmart just kept expanding, and by the early 1970s, they had over 800 stores up and running all across the country, giving them a seemingly insurmountable lead over any of their competitors. In 1976, Kmart made history by opening 271 stores in 1 year. Kmart now had over 1,000 stores with $8.4 billion in sales and stood as America's second largest retailer. Only Sears was bigger. The beauty about Kmart was that it really did have something for everyone. Families could go there for almost all of their usual household needs. And with the convenient locations and plentiful parking, it was easy enough to stop in and grab just the 1 or 2 items that you needed. Of course, once you were inside a Kmart, there was a good chance you'd be sticking around.
Yeah, for a while.
Unlike traditional department stores, Kmart made shopping carts available for their customers.
Just go and like get their hot dogs and things.
Unlike traditional department stores, Kmart made shopping carts available for their customers to use. With the convenience of a cart, customers could carry more items without being overburdened, allowing them to spend more time browsing
and money
and filling up those shopping carts.
Right.
As a little kid, I knew what I was in for when we stopped into Kmart for just a couple quick things.
Guys, the fact that it sounds like Kmart started all of this, and then obviously everyone else came and took it, and I'm guessing when the actual founder himself was no longer around, and I'm guessing his kids were there or some type of investors, they basically ran it to the ground. That's what it sounds like. They didn't have the same drive that the founder actually had. That's such a shame.
Right.
Specifically, again, the fact that they created a good amount of what we all take advantage of in all these locations. I mean, it's pretty sad.
As soon as my mom pulled out a shopping cart, I knew we were going to be there for a while.
Right.
But shopping with Mom at Kmart wasn't really so bad. Although rolling around in the kiddie seat of the shopping cart as my mom perused the racks of polyester slacks wasn't very exciting, I'd usually be treated to a bag of delicious Kmart popcorn and maybe a cherry icy to wash it down. Flash forward a few years when I was old enough to graduate from the kiddie seat and could wander off on my own, life got even better, as Kmart always had plenty of stuff to keep a kid entertained. The toy department in Kmart was larger than other stores and had better prices than traditional toy stores. Personally, I preferred to spend most of my time sorting through the Matchbox and Hot Wheels cars hanging from the pegboard. Priced around 78 cents, a Hot Wheels car was a prize I was sometimes lucky enough to take home. Then, just down the aisle from the toys was the pet department with
Yeah, this is a nostalgia overload with the fish. Bro, I remember going to Kmart specifically, like when I was really young, obviously, right? And what we used to do was I would get lost in the toy section, but more like the video game section, because they would have like the video game consoles out, like the brand new console, and you can literally just sit there and play for hours, bro.
Oh, yeah,
Best thing in the world. I remember this is like that was my childhood. You know, this is nostalgia overload right here.
Yeah.
typical fish, parakeets, and hamsters. Over in the direction of the Kmart Auto Center was a wall of car stereos and speakers that could be cranked up to volumes guaranteed to annoy any other shoppers in the immediate vicinity. When the Atari home gaming system came out, there would usually be a bunch of kids over in the electronics department lined up to play Pitfall, Missile Command, or whatever other new game was plugged into the console.
Well, not Atari.
You could.
I came in basically on like Nintendo 64. That was basically my my generation of playing consistently, wanting to go to this place just to play this. Right? That was absolutely amazing. All right, and then much later on, it was like the car stereo region of this and the old Circuit City.
Could also sometimes get your hands on a sample version of a handheld LED sports game like Mattel Football 1 or Football 2 or basketball or soccer or baseball. Other interesting departments worth checking out were sporting goods, bikes, records and tapes, and the photography department that was stocked with cameras, binoculars, telescopes, and Super 8s. Of course, Kmart was also the place everyone went to for back-to-school shopping. I remember starting many of my grade school years decked out in a stiff new pair of Rustler jeans and a pair of colored suede Trax sneakers. Remember these? Outfitted with a Trapper Keeper, Mead Spiral notebook, and my Star Wars lunchbox, I was ready to begin the new year. All items courtesy of Kmart. Need a break from all those bargains? Just park your shopping cart up.
Guys, look at these prices. Grilled ham dinner. 83 cents? Is that what this says? I can't say 83 cents, bro. No. Is it 83? I think that's 83 cents for real. A hamburger plate, 83 cents. Man. A fish plate, 77 cents? A chili burger, 43 cents? I don't understand. These can't be real.
Was back then.
Maybe?
Outside the cafeteria at the back of the store and sit down to a hot dinner of fried chicken.
It literally says 57 cents right here, bro. Beef stew, 50 cents. Are you joking?
Salisbury steak or meatloaf served with mashed potatoes and gravy along with a toasted bun.
I almost
butter.
don't believe this.
And the more time you'd spend in the store, the more times you'd hear those familiar words over the loudspeaker.
Attention, Kmart shoppers.
Followed by a description of the latest blue light special.
Right.
Nobody knew it at the time, but the 1980s would be the end of Kmart's reign as the nation's top discount store.
Walmart.
In November of 1990, Walmart would surpass Kmart to become the nation's #1 retailer.
And something tells me they studied Kmart drastically.
Right.
Okay.
After that, things started to get ugly.
Right.
Literally. all the familiar details that made Kmart Kmart began to disappear. In 1990, the logo was changed from the italic red K and turquoise Mart to a block letter K with Mart written inside. Along with the logo, uniforms and store signage were also changed to red and white. The Blue Light Special was taken away in 1991. A subsequent partnership with Little Caesars resulted in the removal of most Kmart cafes. Eventually, most Kmart stores were rebranded as Big K's, which claimed to have new layouts, brighter lighting, wider aisles, and spotless floors.
Wider aisles for our waistlines.
But it was too little too late. In January 2002, Kmart, with its 2,114 stores, filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy protection. It turns out that the new Big K stores couldn't compete with the wider selection or rock-bottom prices of Walmart, and they couldn't match the style and quality of Target. And if you ask me, the updated stores just didn't have the personality or charm of the old stores, if you can call it that.
Yeah, they tried to fit in. And by them trying to fit in, it ruined basically who they were deeply. They were that small location in the middle of the city, right, initially. Right? That's who they were. It felt comfortable entering into this location. It felt like something that you've always gone to. Then all these other locations came in, and they were fancy. Right? They ruined it.
They were just kind of bland and uninteresting.
Yeah.
Following the 2002 bankruptcy, Kmart found itself under the control of billionaire investor Edward Lampert, whose hedge fund ESL Investments now owned a majority stake in the company. In 2005, Lampert would leverage the assets of Kmart to purchase another struggling retailer, Sears. Expenses were slashed for both organizations, and with hardly any reinvestment back into the business, sales continued to drop for both companies. More store closings followed, and a second bankruptcy was filed in 2018. From a peak of 2,486 stores
a second bankruptcy
and 350,000 employees, this former giant of American retail has been reduced to just a handful of stores hidden away in some unlikely locations. Safely buffered from the nearest Walmart by 1,000 miles of ocean, Kmart operates 3 stores on the islands of St. Thomas and St. Croix, making it the largest private employer in the U.S. Virgin Islands. A Kmart can be found on the island of Guam, as well as in the Hamptons on New York's Long Island.
And this is the one that I grew up going to. And the fact that it's still here is interesting. So the only one, so one of the only ones still here in America is the one that I grew up, the literal one that I grew up going to.
Located in one of the richest zip codes in the country,
is funny.
This store apparently caters to millionaires and non-millionaires alike. And of course, there's the Miami location, doggedly staying afloat while running their store out of the narrow confines of the former Garden Center. For most of us, Kmart is already just a memory. But as for me, when I look back at Kmart, I'm not going to be remembering the big K's with their bright lights and wide aisles. My mind will be strolling across those beige tile floors under the rows of fluorescent lights, munching on popcorn and listening for that next Blue Light Special. Cue the nostalgic musical montage.
Yeah, I've never even heard this jingle before.
At Kmart stores they understand.
Here's the thing. Guys, I remember this place. And I'm sure you guys did too if you watched it. I'm not sure I knew that there was actually so much depth to it. I feel absolutely terrible that it's gone out of business, specifically if it was a template, for so many stores around the country and the world, most likely, right? That's craziness.
They never upgrade themselves.
I feel like I need to go back to my hometown and check it out. Specifically if it's the one that I grew up with. That's. I remember walking underneath the blue K's. But all right, listen. You guys all have an absolutely amazing day. Enjoy your day thoroughly.
He grew up in the Hamptons. Oh, man, that's crazy. I wonder how many brothers they had in the Hamptons. But, shit, man. Kmart, I remember my cousin, My cousin, Glenetha, she used to work at Kmart for for years. Was it my cousin Christine? I forgot. I don't remember. Anyway, what do y'all think about this video, man? Leave your comments, subscribe to Charles and Asbury, hit the thumbs up button.